Hi everyone, I'm Hao, 29 years old. Currently, I work as a freelancer with a rather unstable income in a coastal city in Vietnam. I have a small family, live in a 40 square meter house, and am burdened with a large bank loan that I don't know when I'll be able to pay off. Today, I want to share a more personal story. It's a reality that many foreigners might find strange. Due to the pressure of making a living and paying off debt, my wife and I can't live with our young son. We have to send him back to our hometown to be cared for by his grandparents. This episode won't feature any fancy destinations. It's simply a rare reunion of our three-generation family. A day with coffee costing less than $1, an unexpected incident, a completely free kite flying festival on the beach, and a sidewalk dinner filled with laughter. Join me as we explore the fascinating world in this new video and see how a young Vietnamese family finds happiness in the simplest things in everyday life. Welcome to my real world. Early this morning, my dad took an early bus from our hometown to the city to visit us and our grandchild. To welcome him, nothing was more fitting than taking him for a cup of coffee at a sidewalk cafe, a deeply rooted cultural tradition in Vietnamese life. Vietnamese people don't go to fancy cafes just to buy a takeaway drink. We sat on low stools close to the ground, enjoying 2 cups of strong, freshly squeezed black coffee with milk. The bill for those 2 cups was only 38,000 VND, less than $2. A super cheap price for international tourists, but a comfortable and familiar amount for working class people here. While watching the street life, my dad asked me about our current house. Our small 40 square meters house in the city is the result of my parents' lifelong savings bought for us so we would have a place to shelter from the sun and rain. In a rapidly developing country like Vietnam, urban real estate prices are far beyond the reach of young people. Even with family support, my wife and I are still burdened with a significant bank loan and monthly interest payments. This 40 square meters apartment is both a privilege and an invisible financial burden weighing heavily on our shoulders every time we wake up. Today, when my parents brought their son over to visit, our 40 square meter house suddenly felt more cramped than ever. The space was a bit inconvenient, with the baby's belongings spilling out into the hallway. But this very cramped space explains why we have to send our child back to our hometown. We need space and time to work, pay off debts, and save. The reality of life for a young, low-income family in Vietnam is like this. You have to learn to fit into a small space, learn to accept distance in exchange for a more secure future for your children. In Vietnam, motorbikes are the lifeline for every family. Today, Our family has 4 adults, but only 2 motorbikes, meaning each one carries 2 people. But a small problem occurred right before we were supposed to leave. My wife's electric motorbike, which she uses daily for work, suddenly got a flat tire. However, in Vietnam, problems like this are easily solved thanks to another characteristic: sidewalk repair shops. I stopped at a shop run by a mechanic around 60 years old near my house. As you can see, his tools are very simple: just a metal box, a few wrenches, and an old air pump. This is a representative image of the middle-aged working class in our country. People who quietly make a living on the sidewalks without pensions or insurance, their lives depending on each tire repaired by passers-by. After about 10 minutes and for less than $1, our motorbike was ready to continue our journey. Just before heading to the beach, my dad received a phone call about an urgent matter that required him to return to his hometown. Unfortunately, he couldn't go to the beach with his grandson. Luckily, Uncle Bay, my dad's older brother, also had business in the city that day, so my dad could hitch a ride with him back home. There's a rather interesting fact about the economic structure of families in Vietnam. Within the same family, siblings can have completely different living standards. Uncle Bay is more financially well off and has already bought a car, while my dad and my wife and I are still struggling with low incomes. Even so, the spirit of mutual support and helping each other remains strong. My dad got into the car to go back to his hometown, while my wife's grandmother stayed in the city to continue taking care of the baby with us. So, this afternoon's beach trip will only have 3 adults and 1 baby.
Ở đây. Gọi lại con nói chuyện nha. Gọi lại.
When we arrived at the beach, the sky was like a giant, vibrant painting. Hundreds of kites of all shapes and sizes, as big as houses, floated in the air. Quy Nhon Beach was packed with people today. The long stretch of sand seemed to be swallowed up by the crowds flocking to see the festival. This was the moment my son enjoyed the most. Watching him lie peacefully in my arms, and his grandmother's, his round eyes gazing up at the giant kites soaring, I suddenly felt an unusual sense of peace. For foreign viewers, a crowded beach like this might lack privacy, but for Vietnamese people, a lively crowd is a state of happiness. Being immersed in the crowd, feeling the cool sea breeze after tiring days of work is one of the least expensive forms of healing for the people here. For many foreigners, going to the beach means sunbathing at midday, right? But in Vietnam, it's completely the opposite. Our people are extremely afraid of getting a tan, so the beaches are deserted during the day. You have to wait until around 4 to 5 p.m. when the sun has softened for the beach to truly transform into a giant free playground for everyone. Adults rush down to swim, children excitedly build sandcastles, and the elderly sit on the sand, enjoying the breeze and chatting. Walking along the sand for a while, we encountered all sorts of cheerful sounds. The sound of balloons being blown, cheers, and even the gentle lapping of waves. Living in a coastal city like this is truly a great privilege for freelancers like myself. In big cities, when stressed or short on money, people usually spend money at fancy bars and cafes to unwind. Here, no matter how stressed or broke you are, just run to this public beach, breathe in the salty sea air, let the sand caress your feet, and immerse yourself in this lively atmosphere, and you'll naturally feel half the burdens of daily life lighten. It's like a completely free therapy for the soul that this city offers to ordinary working people. The streets this afternoon were a real challenge for anyone trying to get around. Because of the Kite Festival on the beach, the streets were packed with people, motorcycles and cars crammed together meter by meter. For many foreigners, traffic in Vietnam during peak days like this looks like a nightmare or a lawless chaos. But if you look closer, you see it's like a flowing stream, crowded, but everyone knows how to yield and weave through each other miraculously, rarely resulting in collisions. The blaring car horns, the roar of engines, the late afternoon sun blending with the hurried crowds. This is the truest pulse of Vietnamese streets during every festival season. It's a little chaotic, a little suffocating, but that's the price we happily pay for a perfect weekend afternoon with our families. After a tiring afternoon of walking, I took the whole family out for dinner. If you come to Vietnam, you absolutely must try the experience of eating on the sidewalk.
Ok.
We chose a
Đấy, có
casual
bạn đứng đây rồi
snail
đó.
restaurant. Vietnamese people can eat anything on the street, from seafood
Tôi
and
vào đây này.
snails, prepared in various ways, to simple snacks that are incredibly flavorful.
Ủa tụi con ốc gì làm một nồi luôn này luôn ơi. Ốc gì nữa nấu lên luôn ơi. Gì nữa nấu snail nữa tôm ơi. Muốn cho chị đem gì ơi? Đúng đâu cũng anh.
Con này ăn cái nào? Để quay lại con lóc kẹt cái quay lại đứng đây. Cho em một đĩa này. Một đĩa cái gì này. Cháo không có chén người ta.
Our hearty dinner for the whole family today cost a total of 95,000 VND, equivalent to about $4. With the income of a young working class family, we didn't choose fancy air-conditioned restaurants, but sitting and eating on the sidewalk, feeling the sea breeze, hearing the car horns, and the laughter and conversations of other diners gave us an incredibly free and comfortable feeling. It shows that the people here have a great ability to adapt. We can find joy and satisfaction from the simplest and cheapest things. A full day for my family ends like this. Tomorrow, it's back to the daily grind of making ends meet. The 40 square meters house still burdened with debts, and my content creation journey has only just begun. I make these videos not only to record memories, but also to give you a genuine, unembellished perspective on the struggles of young Vietnamese people. To maintain this independent reality filmmaking, besides my daily work, I really need your support. If you enjoy my perspective and want to support my family's journey, you can buy me a coffee via the Buy Me a Coffee link or PayPal in the description. Every small support from you gives me more motivation to make ends meet and continue producing higher quality films. Thank you for listening to my story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Bye bye and see you in the next episode.